What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the 7 levels of slap bass that are going to get you slapping like a champion. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. It lets me know what I need to do better and to make better content for all you guys. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video where I will be unveiling the secret 8th level of slap bass that is for sure going to get you gigs. So the first level that I want to talk about is very simple. We're going to start with the simple slap. We're going to be working in the key of A flat. The slap is done with your thumb. Lots of people do it a lot of different ways. I like to do it with this like little bone part that sticks out from this side of my thumb, like this little guy right here. There's like a little nubbin. And what you want to do is you want to take it, hold it parallel to the strings, fret a note. In this case, I'm going to be fretting the note A flat on the E string, and I'm going to be striking that note with that part of my hand. That's simple. And really what gets most people is you don't just drive your hand onto the string. There's a bounce that happens, and the string does some of the work, but you want to flick your hand up a little bit too. It's not really like an arm motion. It very much is like a wrist motion as well. So with the combination of your arm and your wrist and also the bounciness of the string, you want to hit that note and have your thumb leave the string as fast as possible. You do not want to keep it on there for long because then it's going to mute the note. It's going to turn this into this. And usually what I like to do is I like to hit it right about here at the end of the bridge. You can experiment with some different positionings for some different tone, but for that classic slap sound, you really want to hit it right at the end of the neck, right here, where the neck kind of falls off. The second technique I want to talk about is going to be the pop. This is slapping and popping. This is the meat and potatoes of slap bass. This is what you need to know. So usually when you slap a note, you're going to follow it up with a pop on the octave or the fifth or whatever note. The flat 7 is also very common. So how to perform this is you're going to strike the note and do a slap just like how we discussed before. And then you're going to form your index finger or your second finger, but let's start with the index finger, into a little hook shape. And you're going to take your finger and kind of jam it between the strings or under whatever string you're trying to pluck, and then move it up like this. And when you start chaining that root octave motion together, I'm playing the 4th fret on the E string, A flat, and this octave on the 6th fret of the D string. So I'm slapping and I'm popping, and I'm slapping and I'm popping. And then once you can chain those together efficiently, then you're really cooking. And it's good to try to move that around into some different places. So we're going to try a little bit of a line here. The third level of slap bass is going to be the ghost note. And slap bass is a much more of a percussive feel than a lot of other styles you could be playing. It's not like finger style or tapping or anything like that. It's entirely its own thing, and getting those dead muted notes in there can really help to drive the feel of the bass line home. You're going to slap and pop those ghost notes just the same as you would anything else, but instead of pushing down on the fret, you're just going to lightly touch the top of the fret with your finger in order to mute the note. So for example, I'm going to be performing a ghost note slap. So the same thing that we were doing before on the note A flat, and I'm just, instead of pushing down on the fret, I'm just holding my hand above it and slapping it all the same. You can also, for bonus points, use these 3 fingers to lay it over the top of the other strings for an even more dead sound. And the same thing applies to the popping. Hold your hand above those, mute those notes in any way you can. And that can turn a bass line like this into a bass line like this. The 4th level of slap bass is quite a broad one. Once you have mastered this slapping and this popping and being able to chain it up with some ghost notes, you can start experimenting with some more efficient movement. And this is going to include stuff like hammer-ons, pull-offs, and cross hammers. Say you're working in the minor pentatonic scale starting on A flat here. Like, instead of just popping root octave, you could pop that flat 7 and then hammer onto the octave. So you get that nice little... Pull-offs are going to work the same way in that regard. So instead of popping the flat 7, you go back to the octave and go... I also want to lightly touch on the cross hammer technique. This is kind of like a hammer-on, but you're hammering onto a different string. And it's a little bit confusing, but stay with me here. So, for example, we're still in the key of A flat. We haven't moved. And we're going to pop that flat 7 on the 4th fret of the D string, the note F sharp. And we're going to hammer on to the 6th fret of the A string on the note E flat. So... instead of hammering onto the same string, you can actually hammer onto a different string and chain notes together like that. This is all about keeping your movement efficient and making yourself do as little work as possible, because really, you want to keep this going. You want to keep that same wrist motion going. You don't want to have to do gymnastics of, okay, now I'm slapping and now I'm popping, but I can't pop because I already just did that, and I'm just... This stuff is going to really help you in your playing, and they're going to help you make your lines feel more efficient to play and, more importantly, sound smoother. So let's do a little bit of an exercise with that. Here's a line. It's going to be an A flat. The 5th level of slap bass is going to be the double stop pop. We're not changing keys in this video, by the way. So to perform this, first 2 fingers here, and it's just like you're popping 1, but instead we're gonna pop 2. And I'm popping the D string and the G string, both on the 4th fret. I'm gonna choose to bar it with my index finger, but you can also choose to fret each note individually. And you can get some really nice sounding chords in there. So for example, in the key of A flat minor, you would slap it and then hit that double pop right there. We're hitting the flat 7 and we're hitting the minor 3rd to kind of outline a minor 7 chord with the root. You can check out my chords video for some other double stop ideas, but they're all over the place. So a quick exercise with this. The next technique I want to go over is a bit of a weird one, but it is a very easy way to get some really fast notes in there. I call it an open string flurry, but a lot of people call it a lot of different things. And that's this thing. Not as hard as you think it is. So you're going to begin with a open slap on the open E string, and even if the open string is not necessarily in the key that you're playing in, the note happens so fast that it's really just going to end up sounding like a percussive element, and the note ultimately doesn't matter that much. So, for example, slap the open E string. I'm going to hammer on to the 4th fret of the E string on the note A flat. I'm going to pop the octave, and I'm going to slap the original note once again. If you speed that up, you can also, before you even slap the open string, you can do a ghost note pop as kind of like this is a bad way to explain it, a pickup a little bit to extend the line further in that direction. So instead of just going, I could start it with a ghost note pop or an octave, and you get those notes happening really fast, and it's like, whoa. Let's do a little bit of an exercise with that. The 7th level of slap bass, and now we're getting a little bit complicated, is going to be left hand tapping. And we're not talking about like that kind of tapping. That's for an entirely different video. This is just going to focus on tapping notes with the left hand. And this is not about speed. This is not about putting a bunch of notes together really fast. This is about efficiency. So instead of slapping this note, A flat, I could choose to tap it. So the reason why this is important is when your right hand isn't busy plucking a note or slapping a note or whatever, it opens your right hand up to do other things. For example, one of those, a little muted thing, a little ghost note pop action. It can do even like a little double stop if you're... There's a lot of different things that your right hand can do when it's not busy playing notes. So if you can defer some of that responsibility to your left hand, it can open your bass lines up for a lot of different possibilities. So a quick exercise with that. Speed it up. I am now going to unveil to you guys the secret 8th level of slap bass that nobody will tell you about. And that is just play the groove, man. Just play the groove. If you want to get hired, play the groove. Nobody's paying you to... Nobody's paying you to do any of that. Play the groove. Do your job. Play the groove. You're not playing a lead instrument. Just play the... No need to embellish. No need to do any fancy things. That's not your job. Do your job. Play the damn bass. Lay down a bass line. It's fucking... That's what people are hiring you to do anyway. If you guys enjoyed this kind of video format, I'm experimenting with a lot of different things right now, trying to get this channel up and running. Let me know in the comments what you think. Give it a like if you liked it. Give it a like if you didn't like it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and ding the bell if you want to see more stuff like this. All tabs and backing tracks and future stuff are going to be available on my website for free. All you have to do is sign up with your email, and the link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.